Well, good Friday afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, I'm Steve Novotney, and I have one guest and one guest only today. For the first time in the history of Steve Novotney Lives, Mr. Bob Gaudio. Call him what you want.
Yes.
You can call him RJ Gaudio. You can call him Troubadour. You can call him Robert. You can call him Bob.
Yep.
What's Claire call you?
We're not going to talk about that.
Oh, okay. All right.
She calls me Robert. I'm Robert.
Robert.
There you go.
Okay.
But she's English, and that's understood.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
How the heck are you? How's the family? How long has it been since we've seen each other, Bob?
Well, I was down here once during the COVID I think Scott was here. We did something quickly.
Oh, yeah.
A couple months back. But I'm doing fine. Thank God we got past that whole COVID crisis to the extent that we are. I mean, still that Delta variant's out there, and I am concerned about that. But personally, I did not encounter the COVID, even though I was in public buildings during the whole time as a criminal defense attorney, and my family did not contract the disease. My immediate family, my brothers and sisters, all got COVID in Fallensby.
Really?
Yes. Brother Mike, we had to take him to the emergency room because he didn't have to stay in the hospital, thank God. And he still has some respiratory issues as a result. My sister, my two brothers, both contracted COVID. Fallensby was rather one of those towns that didn't recognize the fact that it was a problem, and as a result, there was a lot of interaction.
Move the mic a little, Bob.
Okay. As a result, there was a little bit of
there you are.
Okay. There was a lot of more spread of COVID than there should have been.
Okay.
And we lost the city manager, John DeStefano, who was his father was my godfather, our neighbor, John. And John was also my brother Michael's best friend in life. They grew up together, 3 years old, And Randy Hood, who owned Hood's Pharmacy, is also excellent friends and business partner of my brother. So, that whole end of the family had some crises.
Yeah.
But thank God on my end, because of my age and my wife's age, we were lucky enough not to.
Well, we were super careful.
Right.
We're in our 50s.
Right.
Okay. But my parents are older.
Right.
My mom's soon to be 89. My dad's 90.
God bless them.
And so we kind of, I just kind of locked them in their house.
Well, that's what you had to do.
Yeah, I'm like, you don't go anywhere. We'll take care of it. And Michelle, God bless her, I'd go to the store with her all the time. She seldom let me go in.
Right.
Because she was being very protective. And
that's Michelle, though.
It is.
Yeah, right.
But, the moment she came out, I, of course, loaded the car and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And we did take out some.
Yep.
But, I picked up the slack with cooking.
There you go. We know you're an excellent cook, so that's a good thing.
I really don't mind cooking. I like it,
And so do I. So, yeah.
Michael's good.
Yeah. Great.
Now, my daughter, who was a respiratory therapist.
Yeah, so she's in hospitals.
Yeah. She was vaccinated.
Right.
Okay. She got vaccinated in January.
Yeah.
But Mandy has Crohn's.
Oh, okay.
And that's an autoimmune.
Right.
And she takes medications and everything. She ended up getting COVID.
Okay.
And that was a bad week. I kept telling Michelle, let's go. Let's go help Mandy. Let's do this. Let's do that. Thank goodness her boyfriend, Christian, would go to the grocery store and so on and so forth. But I wanted to be there.
Of course.
And it just drove me nuts. But we talked every night. I kept track of her and everything. I didn't get to see her until this past weekend. She and Christian came down.
I saw photographs. You guys had a nice picnic or something.
We were up at Cliff House West for the 4th.
Great.
And,
Christian seems like a good dude.
He is. I like Christian.
Yeah.
And I will say this out loud, even if they decide to watch or are watching.
As a dad.
And they could be. I've never said that about a girl or about a guy that my daughter has dated.
There you go.
I have not even her ex-husband.
Understand.
But I like Christian.
Yeah.
And that's progress.
That's important. Not to her. I mean, but to you. But, you know, my daughter is married to a very nice young man, but she had a couple of guys in her life that I could have thrown out the window.
Oh, man. There was one that I grabbed by his neck.
Oh, jeez.
And there was another one who had to be on drugs or something.
Right.
That I mean, he swung at me and I put him down.
There you go.
And, you know, when he woke up, yeah, I knocked him out. When he woke up, he was like, Mikey told him, he goes, don't mess with my dad. He goes, he's the only person on this planet I don't mess with. And
that's something coming from Mike.
Yeah, coming from Michael, that says a whole lot. Yeah. Summer. How is summer treating you, my man?
I enjoy all the seasons a lot. I like being alive, as a matter of fact,
yeah,
because of some things that have been in my past. But no, I like summer. When I lived in the desert back in when I was in Peace Corps in the late
Yemen,
in Yemen in the 70s, we lived in the desert for about 18 months of my tour and loved it. And I like the heat, so it's not a big deal. My summer itself is fine. We don't really have any plans till the fall because Claire broke her arm and she's getting over it. She's doing real well. She's back to work.
Yeah, she looked great.
Yeah, and she's driving a car again, which is really exciting. And we're actually picking up a manual transmission car for me, a used car tomorrow morning.
Are you?
Yeah, I found a manual transmission.
You're getting a stick?
Yeah, I love a stick car.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. What
kind?
It's a Nissan. What's it called? Versa. Nissan Versa S. And it's a couple years old. The guy turned it in because his wife hated the fact that it was a stick and she couldn't drive it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and he turned it in on the 3rd of July, and I saw it online, and I said, we're going to go get this car.
Cool. Good for you.
Because my Cobalt died. It's just, I put so many miles. When I was working the Weirton office back and forth every day for years, and as a public, I just drove that thing into the ground, and it finally just said, that's it. I'm done. I'm done. Had a hole in the fuel tank. The electric system was gone, and I said, you know what? It's time to stop pouring money into this car.
I get it. I've never owned a Chevy.
Right.
Mikey had a Blazer, and then he got the Cobalt,
right.
and he swore off Chevy.
Really?
Now, some people, big fans.
Yeah, okay.
But,
I liked my Cobalt. I just killed it. I mean, I just drove it and Claire got to the point where Claire and David just wouldn't drive it. Because they're like, it's too dangerous. I was like, no, man, it's a great car. But anyway, tomorrow morning we're going to go pick up this.
Oh, good for you. I can't wait.
And I was driving the stick. Well, you go test drive it.
Yeah.
And I hadn't driven since the Volkswagen. We had a little thing with the Volkswagen. Had to get rid of it. But anyway, I hadn't driven a stick since 2014. And I thought, what was it going to be? Oh, man, it was just like driving like a bicycle.
Oh, man. The last car I drove before my seizure started was my Mustang 5.0.
Ah, nice.
And,
nice.
Man, I love that. But, yeah, driving it to New Martinsville for 2.5 years while I was, the sports editor down at the Wetzel Chronicle.
Right.
It had some miles on it. Yeah, and now it still ran when I had my first seizure.
Right.
But then the doc's like, we don't know what this is.
Can't do that anymore.
And I'm like, okay, so I sold it. And it was a sad day.
That is a sad day. And it'll be a sad day tomorrow when I turn in the Cobalt, But it was so cool because I saw a manual and I said, I'm going to jump on this right now.
Good for you. Good for you.
And we had the financing because we'd been saving up since the Cobalt was dying. So it's all good, man. So tomorrow morning, and Claire actually, when I test drove it, her left arm, you have to steer with the left arm and shift with the right. I said, are you going to be able to do this? And she got in the driver's seat and drove that sucker around.
Good.
She was smiling like a butcher's dog, as Mike Lang
You going to
said.
teach David?
Yeah, David said, I want to learn. I said, okay.
Cool.
When I learned, I almost backed it into a lake. when I was learning
well, just don't go out to Bear Rock with it. Not yet.
Reverse was the hard part for me when I was learning how to do a stick. But yeah, I almost backed it right into a lake.
Listen, when I got the Mustang, I lived in Pittsburgh.
Right.
Up on North Side.
Okay.
So, there's that ridge, but everything else is a hill down or up, right?
You're going like that or you're going like
that. And so I learned real quick.
You have to. Yeah. And hill stops and starts are the most interesting part of learning.
Oh, yeah.
It's how you got to balance the clutch with the accelerator and know how to, not go backwards and crash into the guy behind.
That's right. That's right. And I was on a steep hill and there's somebody behind me. It wasn't a cop or anything, but you still don't want to
And then
hit
the
him.
guys on your tail, you have to, you got to kill the clutch so you don't back into the guy. Yeah, but I love manual. I feel like I'm more in control of the car. The car.
More involved with driving the car, actually.
Exactly. And so I'm looking forward to, it's black. I mean, I'm not real into black cars, but it's a black car. So, other than that, I love it.
Cool.
Okay.
Very cool. The difference a year makes, Bob.
A lot.
Just think about it. I went down to Red, White, and Brew, Michelle and I and the family.
Yes. It looked exciting.
It was a very cool event. Of course, Rain had to cancel Gage, but the Model and then MSM. Those are two fine bands.
How can you not to be entertained by those two bands?
I know.
And I've listened to them a lot. Okay, I go to their shows a lot. Both Kathy and London and Chad and Major, lovely Jim Miller, and I just love sitting there and watching them.
I know
because they love to play, and that's the whole thing about
Chad,
music.
Man, Mike Major. Of course, I've known his dad forever. I've known Mike forever. And
I ran into Steve the other day. He's doing fine.
Yeah, he's a good man. I've always been a fan of Steve Major. Always.
How can you not? What a fine gentleman.
I know.
And an excellent journalist, and
yeah,
the whole thing.
I mean,
he has the whole package, and he's a family man, and he's personable and respectful. And
it reminded me of Mark Davis.
Yes.
They could have been like, well, I'm Mark Davis.
I'm the biggest. Yeah, I'm the big.
And neither one of them ever did that. John Dominic never did that. Well, no. Brenda's just an angel.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Good people at WTRF over the years, over my lifetime.
God bless Mark Davis. I mean, he's an Italian, actually. I forget what his name was, but it was a very Italian name.
I met his daughter. We're Facebook friends, and when I was on WWVA,
yes,
Mark came to me and he's like, "I'm not done. Can I work with you?"
Go.
And I was like, absolutely, Mark. Yeah. And then we went to the conference room, came up with 5 topics, had him on once a week for the next 5 weeks, and then we came up with more topics. It was great.
Yeah. I remember I won my first trial, a circuit trial, and came out of the room after the not guilty verdict, and Mark Davis was standing out in the hall with his little, he had his tape machine.
Oh, yeah.
And my business practice as a criminal defense attorney is you don't make comments to the press. You don't. Let the prosecutor do that. He has to run for office, okay?
Right.
Okay? If you want to talk to anybody about the trial, talk to them. And Mark was a friend of mine. God rest his soul. Yeah. He said, Bob, I said, Mark, I'm not going to, I'll talk to you about the Italian festival, but I'm not going to talk to you about, I said, I won nothing. My client prevailed. I didn't win anything. I'm going to go home. I got 50 more clients in my file drawer. Okay, I'm not going to talk to you about, and he wasn't annoyed at all, no. which I loved about him. Yeah. It was like, okay, well, I respect your, yeah. I said, but the guy, I bet you the prosecutor would love to talk to you. And I walked away.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Really.
Yeah, Mark is a good dude, man.
Yeah, big time. Okay, so we're still in a pandemic.
Yes.
Only like 44% of West Virginians are fully vaccinated. That is very disappointing to me. I wrote a story for Lead a few weeks ago. I interviewed Lou Vargo. God bless Lou.
Yes.
And, I'm like, Lou, what is going on? Because he and I, in the beginning when the vaccinations came out and all this, Lou's like, I really think we're going to get to 75%. In Ohio County, we're only at 54. And I listen, I respect a person's decision.
Yes.
Okay. If, people have been critical to me for getting fully vaccinated. I even tell them, hey, when the booster comes out, I'm getting that. I don't want COVID.
Correct.
But some people didn't even believe COVID existed. Wow. And some people thought we could inject sunshine into our bodies.
I know. And it's unfortunate that we have lost confidence in the science. The science that, mRNA, for example, the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccines were both developed from 1990. 90. Okay, 1990, they've been doing mRNA research.
Right.
It wasn't a new technology. It wasn't a new science. It was just a vaccine that responded, a vaccine developed through the mRNA process that responded very well against against this virus that is still killing people.
Yeah.
Okay, I have 5 people in my life, in my direct life who died from COVID-19. 5. And I'm just some little dude in Wheeling, West Virginia, right? I'm one of 8 billion on the planet. 5 people that I know near and dear to me passed, including my uncle Claire's uncle John Bly in England. Okay, yeah. So John, believe me, an incredibly intelligent man and a beautiful man, and it didn't take long to kill him. That to me motivates me to look hard at the science and say, okay, if it is actually having an effect, and it is. If you look at it, it really is. Having a very clear effect on tamping this virus down.
Yeah.
It's not taking it away because not everyone is getting the vaccine. So we don't even know, Steve, if you and I, we go to Kroger or whatever we do, or in your case, I don't know where you go to shop. I think
We go to Respect.
Respects, okay. And you go in and you are fully vaccinated, right? And you might even wear a mask in Respects just out of respect for everybody else. You may not. Up to you. But you are exposed to the virus by somebody else on a meat counter or over in bakery. But you don't show any symptoms of it.
Asymptomatic.
You carry it out of Respects or out of Kroger, and you take it to your car, and you take it home, and, your mother comes and visits.
Yeah.
Right? You're fully vaccinated, okay? She's fully vaccinated, but maybe it's been 5 months since she was vaccinated. Or somebody that's not vaccinated comes in the house to say, to pay a visit, or somebody delivers something at your door, and they breathe your air, and you don't have any symptoms because you're not sick.
Right.
We don't know clearly, even now, whether that virus can be carried by those who are fully vaccinated and could carry it to somebody who is not. We don't know that.
Well, I know. That's why I continue. When we went to Red, White, and Brew, it was like, I'm over here.
Yes. I don't want to give it to anybody. Okay? No. That's my perspective.
That's right.
You don't want to get a vaccine because you don't want to believe the science. I find that to be a problem in my perspective, but I'm not going to knock you down and shoot your arm up with a vaccine.
Right.
I'm not going to force. The government shouldn't force you to go get a vaccine.
No.
But if you look at the science and the data, it's pretty clear to me throughout the world, not just in the United States, that it works. It keeps the virus down to minimal levels. It's killing a hell of a lot less people today in the United States than it was 3 months ago, 4 months ago, 5 months ago. We were losing thousands and thousands and thousands of Americans a day.
Yeah, every time Howard Gamble, the administrator of the Wheeling, Ohio County Health Department,
yes,
sends me an email with the update. The last one was over a 2-week period, they recorded 11 new positives. And I always see your sad face.
Yes.
That's always your reaction on those posts.
Yes.
And I get it.
I love people. And I hate the fact that we're still, dealing with this virus. But if people don't get vaccinated, it's not going anywhere.
No.
It has no politics. It has no religion. It has no
keep changing.
ethnicity. It has no racism. Race. It has nothing except it is a sickness that will kill you. And it will mutate. Because that's what viruses do. That's why we get flu shots every year, because the flu itself, influenza, changes. So the flu shot is different every year, because and then some years they mess up and they don't address the mutation, so the flu shot is ineffective. Why do we get flu shots every year? Because we don't want to get the flu. Why? Because it could kill us. That's the whole thing. This one's a lot more effective in killing you than influenza.
That's right.
And so I guess my perspective is you don't want to get a shot, that's fine, but I think you really need to use your brain more than you're using your politics or your religion. Or,
the fact that this got political amazes me. It's kind of like
makes no sense.
And here's the thing. Former President Trump did say the vaccines are coming. They're coming. He supported subsidizing, the production. He got it himself. I wish he would have done it on national TV like Mike Pence did.
Yeah.
So I don't know where it comes from. How was the pandemic treated? by the former president. Not well.
No.
Not well. Is President Biden doing better? Hard to tell at this point.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure, you push the vaccines, you share with the rest of the world, all presidential.
Yep.
But, the former president, he got vaccinated.
He did.
He promoted vaccines.
He did.
And I don't get it. That's why it amazes me how this is still so political.
Yeah, the problem is everything has become political, and I think that's the key. No longer do we think of ourselves as fellow Americans. To me, it looks like we think of ourselves as a particular party or a particular type.
Oh, it's party power, yeah.
Or a certain type of political animal. I'm a liberal Democrat. I'm a conservative Republican. I'm a middle of the road Democrat. No, you're not. You're an American. Okay, you're a fellow American. I don't care if you live in Ohio or Pennsylvania or Maryland or Kentucky or any of the surrounding Virginia, the surrounding states. We're all part of the same family.
I know.
So.
But some didn't believe COVID even existed.
I know, and they
Trust
still
me,
don't. There are people that still don't.
I had to block people.
Yeah.
Okay, because it was every morning I published the report on COVID.
Right.
And people were like, "That's wrong." I'm like, it's a press release from the health department. I'm just putting it out there so people realize that 47 positive tests in a single day is really bad.
It's very bad, especially in a little town like ours. Little city like ours. You look at it, man. I sat and thank God for technology. You can actually talk to people back then when you couldn't visit them in the hospital. You couldn't go into the hospital.
Right.
Your husband could.
That was horrible. I didn't see my mom for a month after her surgery.
If it's your wife, you can't go and sit by her bedside.
Cool.
Right? Right? So
I would have gotten one of them man lifts.
Well, I had FaceTime visits with two of my friends before they passed. It's not the same. And you watch somebody dying who's 10 years younger than you.
Yeah.
And what do you say? Because of this disease that nobody believes in? Excuse me.
Yeah.
Does that anger me? Yes. But, should I get angry at the person or at the ignorance, at the message, at the media? Who do you get mad at?
Right.
Social media puts out these messages that are out of control, unfactual, totally not based in any fact at all. No foundation in reality. And people buy it because it's on, I don't know, some particular website that they respect and like and enjoy. And so they believe everything that comes out of that particular box. Really? I thought we were smarter than that. And I've come to understand we're not. And that's my sadness about what's going on.
It sounds as if, you had more personal friends than what I did pass from COVID. And I'm very sorry for that.
Thank you.
A mentor of mine, Mike Meyer.
Michael, exactly. Another friend of mine. Exactly.
That.
We were on the regatta committee together.
Yeah.
We sat, every meeting we sat next to each other because we were totally opposite ends of the political spectrum. But we just loved the hell out of each other and enjoyed our conversations and, nitpick each other a little bit and have some fun, but with respect.
Yeah.
And with love. And he'd bring his granddaughter to the meetings and, we'd help her color. And then Mike all of a sudden gone, man.
I know.
Craig Kreiner, a police officer.
Yeah.
Gone.
Yeah.
Sister Christine Riley.
Oh, yeah.
Gone. These are all people that, were part of my life, but I'm not trying to be, egotistical, but this is just me. It's just one guy, Sister Christine was a seriously wonderful human being. She was a saint on earth, and it killed her fast. Mike, I don't, John McCabe and I talked about it, and he's still in shock. Yeah.
John worked with Mike longer than what I did.
Right.
Okay, when I was in Wetzel, the Chronicle,
right.
Mike, that's when Mike and Bob Kelly started to become my mentors because Bob and Mike kind of fought over me.
Good.
They asked me flat out because I would take the Chronicle to composing on Tuesday evenings. Mm-hmm. And they would ask me, do you want to do sports? And I was like, no, I'm only doing sports because it's my first full-time gig and I got 4 schools. Right. I was like, and then I started doing Tyler too.
Right.
But I said, no, I want to get back into news. That's what I want to write.
Yeah, I'm a newsman.
And so, you know, they both agreed finally that I was going to be on the central staff and just work for both papers. And I loved that.
Right.
You know, and then Mike would always come to my desk and say, Ogden wants. Listen, I just wanted to climb, okay?
Right. You wanted to,
Okay, and
succeed in the business.
Yeah, and, you know, I wanted to do well for the family, for my wife.
Absolutely.
And then Ogden came to me personally and said, I want you to have a Sunday cover in the Sunday News Register every week. Nice. Can you do that? And I said, yep.
Yes, sir, I can.
Yep. And then, you know, of course, then I went to Pittsburgh and resigned from there, came home, and then thought I could reinvent the old journalism career with talk radio. And I didn't write for a little while, until WeLunk.
Right.
You know, I stopped. I mean, I wrote emails and I could still write.
You're talking about writing columns.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is a whole different. It's
different.
An art form. It is.
And so I had to get back into it, and I'm never going to not write again. You know, that's why Erica and we started Lead.
Right.
Because I'm like, there's a void. We're more ready for digital media here now. We can get advertising. We can fill the void.
And hello to Erica, by the way. I haven't seen her in a long, long time.
Well, she's not feeling well today.
Oh, Erica, get better.
Yeah.
If you're listening.
Yeah, that's just, you know, that's where Lead came from. And now, you know, I do a lot of writing and meetings and everything for Roxby, and I love it. It's absolutely, and my commute's not real far.
No, I was going to say, you could throw a rock.
Maybe back in the day.
Yeah, back when you're in that picture.
Yeah.
You throw that left-hand fastball down, hit the building.
All right, we're going to take a break.
Okay.
And then we'll come back and we're going to talk more politics, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, that's Bob Gaudio. I'm Steve Novotney. It is Steve Novotney Lives right here on Lead News. Welcome back to the show. Thanks for a few folks hanging on. Now, we've got a special treat next hour. It's Bob Gaudio, hour number 2.
Yeah.
But that's when he transforms into,
Transmogrify.
into R.J. Gaudio Troubadour.
Troubadour. Yeah, I like how John Banco always says.
No, that's me, man. He can't do it. Banco can't do it.
Okay. But he always does. He tries.
Yeah, he does.
Troubadour.
Yeah, we've been doing that for you since you became the Troubadour.
I appreciate that.
But yeah, we're going to hear some music. And Bob, I know you asked me about originals and covers.
Yes.
Of course, I want to hear your originals. But, you know, we may try to get away with a cover or two.
Well, I appreciate that.
Well, I want you to sing more than 4 songs.
Well, okay.
It's an hour.
Well, I'm not just going to sing. I mean, we could talk about music.
I showed you the topics, man.
I know.
I showed you the topics.
Maybe I have to chat more. But no, I've got 500 songs in my repertoire. I only brought 4 with me. But no, I'll be happy to try to remember a couple of tunes. I'm sure I could.
We'll figure it out.
Something out.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, man.
All right, so we're on politics now, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you again for joining us on Facebook Live. The Lead site was updating most of the day. We're back up, and
good.
We'll be publishing stuff here in the near future. But you know, when the server needs to update everything, it just does it. Why it doesn't do it in the middle of the night, I don't know.
Technology.
Why it does it after I get up at 8, I don't know.
Yeah, let's take everybody's cell phone away from them for 4 hours and see what happens to the world. Right?
Oh,
I can't live without my cell phone.
That'd be scary.
See? That's the thing, man. It's funny.
That would be scary.
My favorite part about going in the weeds is you have no signal. Love that. I absolutely.
Well, if I know that I'm doing that on purpose, fine and dandy.
Yeah, but when you lose it, it's scary.
Oh man, that's not good. Bob, let's get back on politics. I got to ask you, what do you expect from the January 6th committee? Now that the GOP,
right.
they're like, yep, we're in. And,
right.
they're nominating the people and everything. Of course, the Democrats have theirs. Originally, the Republicans said we have no use for that. It was like, it was nothing more than, just people protesting.
Tourists, yeah.
Yeah, and they said tourists. One of them was like, well, I thought they were tourists. Come on.
Yeah, tourists.
But what do you expect from this committee now? Do you think, the Republicans coming in they're doing that on purpose to just make it go away?
No, I believe that Kevin McCarthy had to finally understand that if the Republican Party did not have representatives aside from Liz Cheney on that committee, that it would demonstrate that they had no interest, okay, in the examination,
Right.
investigation, whatever you want to call it. Will it be a circus? Yes, it will be. Okay,
A partisan circus.
yeah, because all of those are, the Benghazi hearings, for example. Okay, how many millions of dollars were spent on the Benghazi hearings. It's going to be the same. They'll serve subpoenas. People will not answer the subpoena. Will not respect it. Will not. And then they'll get into the headlines, and we're going to get the police to come and get these people and drag them, and they won't. I expect it to be an interesting exercise in governmental incompetence.
Futility.
Okay. I mean, but however, will they find some things out that maybe we need to know? I hope so.
Well, I mean, all you got to do is watch some of the footage, and there's some things they need to know.
It's horrible what happened. It is a historic tragedy in the history of this country, that so many people would feel that they could revolt against the presidential election process and end it, stop it, but with violence. Yeah, man. I mean, you look back at our history, and violence has always been a part of it, in American history, but never that kind of violence in this part of our history in the 20th or 21st centuries. So I don't know what the January 6th committee will accomplish. I hope they accomplish a lot more than I anticipate them being able to accomplish.
Right.
I'd like to get some facts out so that we can, people who believe facts, let me put that little predicate on it. People who believe in reality and facts will get what we need to understand what we can do to fix it.
Bob, aren't the charges and the convictions enough factual information that can be analyzed and say,
Maybe.
the charges are the charges.
Right.
We know that we had a state delegate there that went into the Capitol. He was forced to resign. That a former Wheeling resident was allegedly there.
Yes.
And there's several charges against that man.
Yes.
The TV coverage showed what it was. It wasn't tourists looking for a copy of the Declaration of Independence.
No.
It was trying to break in. As you said, they were finalizing the Electoral College that day,
Right.
and they wanted to stop it. They wanted to end it because, fraud and what I tell folks, and listen, I will preface this by saying I think former President Trump did some good things. Mm-hmm. Okay, and I'm an economy guy.
Right.
My generation has been robbed several chances to really save for retirement because of the housing crisis, because of this, because of that, and it's kind of like, okay, well, the only way that I'm going to be able to have my wife at least retire is to invest.
Correct.
Okay? So I'm going to preface my statement saying that former President Trump did some very good things for the American economy.
Okay.
But 7 months before Election Day, he started warning his followers,
Yes.
that there's going to be fraud. There's going to be fraud. There's going to be fraud. And then when he got defeated by President Biden by 8 million votes, you saw states like Arizona. What are they doing? Are they done yet? I don't get it.
Right.
It's the weirdest politics has ever been since I started following when the Iran hostage crisis started under President Carter. I think everybody, because it was on TV every day. Walter Cronkite was talking about it every single day. You couldn't help, really, but cover or follow it.
Right.
This is weird.
Well,
I mean, did it start with the Tea Party and evolve from there?
I think so. I mean, you go back to the mid 1960s. See, there's a book by Marshall McLuhan called "The Media Is the Message," and it is I think a prophetic piece of nonfiction. Basically, Dr. McLuhan foresaw that the media was going to be a weapon rather than an information tool, and that's what it is now. It is used as a weapon. And if you truly, absolutely, in your godforsaken soul, believe that election was stolen from Donald J. Trump, and you are going to do everything in your power to make sure he gets back into office. I saw a thing today that they've extended it from August 13th to September 13th or something. If you absolutely believe that you need to get him back in power because he was fraudulently unelected, that is a result of this weapon of bringing misinformation, disinformation, lies, things that aren't based in any kind of fact to the people who are willing to absorb that as truth. Now, how do you change that? How do you make that go away? I'm not sure you can, and that's the key. I mean, I saw a thing where Rupert Murdoch called Fox News on election night and insisted that they report the truth about Arizona. And then Jared Kushner called Rupert Murdoch and asked him to recant. Please say that, my father-in-law won Arizona. He called Rupert Murdoch to see if he could get that accomplished. I mean, it's that kind of thing where you're using your power to retain power rather than respecting the democratic process.
Right.
And if you are willing to be hell-bent on doing anything to stay in power, that's when we need to intervene with the law and with the order of the law. And that's what I hope is happening with Merrick Garland's Justice Department. What I hope will happen with some of the facts that come out of this committee, that law and order prevails, that democracy as we know it, people going to the polls, putting their X next to somebody's name, and if more people put their X next to your name than mine, you win. Okay? That's what I hope we can retain. But they are trying to stop that. In Arizona, the recount is absurd. Okay? It has no basis in fact. And the people who are recounting it are all prejudiced towards overthrowing that election. I mean, the company they hired, the guy, he's a rabid Trump supporter and thrive on misinformation and disinformation.
Yeah.
And
the big lie.
And you're a journalist, right?
Yeah.
You were taught to get 2 or 3 sources before you put a fact out there.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not the practice, even with straight journalism nowadays. You get a story, you think it's a scoop, you put it out there, and you hope to God it's true. So you can get the.
It's 24 hours of breaking news.
Right. Yeah, you got a 24/7. And I talked to Eric Miner about this. Eric's my good friend. He's now in the journalism department at WVU.
Yep.
And he has me down to give little lectures about criminal law. But he says it's a different world, and you try to teach these young people. You've got to get at least 2 sources before you bring out a fact. And they're not doing that on national television.
No.
We used to be able to trust Walter Cronkite at 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, or 6:30. And
that's the way it was.
Yeah, and all those guys, John Chancellor, yeah.
Peter Jennings.
Anything they said was what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now
Ted Koppel.
Now you get on CNN and then they have to retract the story.
Yeah.
Or you get on MSNBC, you got to retract. Fox News, oh my God. It's like, what do you, and that's why that's fed into the lesser educated people. It's like, we can't trust any of that because they told a lie, or they didn't research a story, or they disrespected my guy. They said something about Mr. Trump that wasn't true, or Mr. Biden, right? And so I don't trust them anymore with anything for any reason. Man, if that was how we dealt with everybody else, think of how many people would believe me, or you. I mean, we've both screwed up in life. We both said some stupid stuff, right? I mean, we've done things that we shouldn't have done, and we were sorry for it.
Humans make mistakes.
Right? But they won't know. But because I'm looking for a wrinkle, I'm looking for that wrinkle so that, that was a lie. So everything they say is a lie, CDC, right? CDC says, don't wear a mask. You don't have to wear a mask. Now you have to wear a mask. Well, who am I to believe? I can't believe anything they say now.
I know. Man, you read the CDC website and it's like, what? It contradicts itself.
Sometimes. Well, even in the early days of COVID, it definitely was. I mean, they were flailing.
Well, Lou and I talked about it, Lou Pargo, the last time he was on the show.
Yeah.
Lou was, on the show soon after the pandemic started. And I asked him, I said, Lou, is this virus going to cause us all to walk around wearing masks? And Lou said no. And I was like, okay. And then, a few months later, after all the mask mandate came out,
right.
I looked at Lou and I'm like, dude, I've got a collection of masks. He goes, we didn't have the information.
Right.
The CDC didn't, we look for guidance from them and then we go from there. The DHHR, so on and so forth. And if the information's not out there, it's not out there. And here we are, in some cases, still wearing masks.
Yes. And that will continue. I mean, you look at the Middle East, or not the Middle East, but the Far East, when Japan has an influenza outbreak.
Having the Olympics is insane.
It's ridiculous. But whenever for decades, you could watch, open Time magazine in 1968. And, influenza outbreak in Japan, everybody's wearing masks. Everybody.
Yeah.
In the street. Why? Because it works. Okay? So, and in the beginning, CDC, science evolves, and that's what people don't get. Science evolves from data collection.
It's about constant learning.
Right. So, do they make mistakes sometimes? Yes. Do they say the right things all the time? No. But as they collect more and more data, and they get more and closer to the answer, we get more clear, accurate information. Like right now, we've got at least three very effective vaccines out there that work against COVID-19. They do. And this variant seems to also be affected negatively by the vaccines. Great. But if you don't get the vaccine, you aren't protecting yourself or others from but we can't believe the CDC because they told us back in February of 2020 we didn't have to wear masks. But they changed their minds when they realized that it was an airborne.
Yeah.
The biggest threat was not tactile. It wasn't. We wiped things down like every 10 minutes.
Oh no, yeah.
We washed our hands.
Oh, I still have them.
Right. You still got stuff on your desk. I got this bottle of stuff. Yeah. I've got Lysol and all over.
Here, would you like some?
Yeah, all over my office. We were cleaning surfaces because we believed that it was mostly coming from tactile. No. But what evolved was the information. No, what's really, really effective in this virus is airborne.
Yeah.
Our breath, the liquid coming out of us whenever we speak. I lost all of my gigs because when I sing, expectorant comes out of my mouth and out of my nose.
I know.
So they said we can't have singers within 6, 7, 8, 10 feet of people. I respected that absolutely. You watch a choir and think about expectorant.
I know. I know.
So if it's airborne and it's in this stuff that's coming out of me right now, then I need to cover that up.
Should I put plexiglass on?
I'm just saying we're both double vaccinated, right?
Yeah.
And I fully intend in September when my 6 months is up to get another shot of Pfizer. I do.
Let's see, April. My second one was, ironically enough, April Fool's Day.
There you go. Well,
so April, May, June, July, August. Yeah, me too, bro.
September. Yeah, I couldn't get a shot. My wife, thankfully, worked in the hospital and got hers in February, much like Mandy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So she's up in August, and she's in her early 60s. She fully intends to go to say, I'd like to get a Pfizer booster. Will they give us one? I don't know. They're talking about it. Today was a big story.
I saw that, yeah.
Pfizer says, we think a booster shot would be effective within 6 to 8 months of after finishing your second shot. Now the CDC is looking at it. Do I trust them? Yes. They're scientists.
Listen, if Lou Vargo says, "Hey, Steve, we're doing boosters,"
Right.
okay. When I got my first vaccine, I wouldn't get it until my mom and dad were taken care of, my aunt and uncle on Michelle's side,
Right.
And my editor, Bill Hanna. And
Good for Bill.
Yeah. And as soon as Bill and Jane got it, he called me. He goes, "We're vaccinated."
We're in.
I called Lou, and I said, "Lou, I'm ready." And it was 50 plus then.
Right.
Okay. I said, "I'm ready." I said, "I'm registered and everything." He goes, "We'll come up tomorrow."
Right.
So I got my first one. And then, what is it with Pfizer? 3 weeks or it's 3 weeks?
3 weeks.
Yeah.
It's 28 days from Moderna.
Then, they scheduled me for April 1, and I got it. April 1st, had a little Superman shirt on.
Good for you.
Just to encourage more people.
Well, you have an effect on the public because of your role, and I appreciate that. We tried to get our office in Charleston, the Public Defender Services office, to expedite shots for us.
Sure, right.
But it wasn't happening. So I literally I have a friend from high school.
We're almost out of time.
Okay, a friend from high school who was working the clinic up at the casino in Chester. And she called me and said, "I know you need it," because I put on Facebook, "I'm looking for a shot," because I can't find one, and I'm in my late 60s.
Right.
Okay. And she called me and said, "Bobby, I get you a shot in 2 hours if you can get up here." And I just got in the car.
Yeah.
So I got my shots up in Chester, West Virginia.
Okay.
Because it was available, but it wasn't because it was, the folks who should have been helping us weren't doing.
Right. All right, we'll go ahead and take the break, folks. What I'm going to do is I'll start a new video, and you'll get another notification and everything else. Bob Gaudio, Robert Gaudio, public defender, becomes R.J. Gaudio Troubadour.
Truby. Yeah.
During hour number 2. So we'll go ahead and end this hour. We'll be back in a moment. I'm Steve Novotney. It is Steve Novotney Lives right here on Lead News. Come on, Gaudio, you're supposed to clear your throat before you hear the music.
I'm such a non-professional, man. I apologize to all listeners and watchers.
Yeah, you probably shocked them all. So, what was that?
If you lost hearing, you can sue me.
Yeah, right. Right. Now, Bob Gaudio, Robert Gaudio, as I said, he becomes R.J. Gaudio Troubadour.
Yeah.
So,
No,
why the Troubadour?
history.
Yes.
I was running the Italian Festival for years. I was chairman and/or co-chair for 8 years.
Yep.
And in the 6th year of that experience, every year I would hire Mike Roeder in the Catch Blues band.
Sure.
At some point on Saturday night, you needed that band out there.
Okay. All right.
Right? Because, you're not going to get a better band for blues than Mike and his guys, right? London and Kevin. Yeah. So it was my 6th year, and I had started to pick up the guitar again. It had been a year. I occasionally would pick it up and play a little bit and then put it back. And they had started open mics around the town. And Claire said, "Why don't you go to an open mic and, try it? See if
And get out of my house.
Well, yeah. Well, you're married that long. You get it. Anyway, we're pushing 30 years as a married couple. And anyway.
27 years and less in 1 month.
There you go. So so I went to a couple open mics, and Mike Roeder was at one of them, and he had no idea that I played. And I did, I think it was, what the hell was it?
Okay.
I want to live, right? I want to. Anyway, and he was shocked. He's like, "Bob." And then I told him my history of playing with bands and, all this stuff. And he goes, "Well, dude, you got to come play with us."
You've been a chef. You're an
Yeah.
attorney.
Yeah.
You were in bands.
Yeah. So Mike's like, "No, you got to come play next time we're at the Italian Festival." I'm like, yeah, sure. Right. And then I hired him, of course, because they're the greatest on Saturday nights.
Yeah.
And he says, "You're coming and playing 2 songs with us." I'm like, "Okay. why not? Because by Saturday night, I'm burnt out, as chairman.
Oh, yeah.
Because you've been working all week. You're setting the thing up, blah, 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 blah.
Remember, I saw it.
Right? By Saturday night, you're just, and you need something like that.
Yeah.
So I got up on stage, and my committee knew nothing about it. I didn't tell them, right? Gaudio,
You told me.
I told you. So I got up with Mike, and we did, I don't know, what was it? Keep your motor running, then head out on the highway. That one. And you could see all the people in the committee and on the board of directors just rushing down the stage, like, what the hell is going on down there? And they realized I had some measure of talent. So Mike got me started. He called me Blind Dog. Blind Dog.
Blind Dog,
Right?
yeah.
He goes, ladies and gentlemen.
Didn't we put that in the program?
You did.
Yeah.
Blind Dog Gaudio. Right? And yeah, that's how it got started. And Troubadour basically just came about because I started getting gigs on my own. People would call and say, hey, I saw you at the blah, blah, blah. I want you to come play for this and play for that. And at Banco, thank God for John Banco and his,
Network.
ability to put a network together of fine musicians throughout this arena, this area. And he decided when he saw me play that I could be a part of that. My music fit some places that needed live music.
Happy hours.
That kind of thing, yeah. And so I played at Matt Welch's brunch when he's in the McClure Hotel.
I remember.
Yeah, so I did a 4-hour gig in the basement of the McClure. It's for my
Technically not the basement.
Well, okay.
It's technically the first floor.
Okay.
But
that's where they park the horses, right?
yeah.
Right.
That's where all the, Youngs and Undos and stuff. There's actually another floor under there.
Really?
Yeah.
That's great. But anyway, yeah, so that got me started, and John, thank God, finds us gigs. He's got a lot of folks in his stable now, and that's great.
Yep.
I just saw Jim Birdsey, I saw Punching Oswald when they came out.
Jim's very good.
Jim is a great front man, and
when we went out for Michelle's birthday, we went to Generations, and that's when and that was back at the end of February.
Right.
And, we wore the masks and all that.
Sure.
But the guidance was you can take your mask off once you're seated.
Right.
But Jim had to play in that back little banquet room
Yeah.
and sing through the glass.
Yeah, we had to.
But I went back because I like Jim. And I asked him, I said, hey, my wife's birthday, she didn't think she was going to be able to do this, but blah, blah, blah.
Could you please?
And my goodness, did Jim Birdsey hook her up. And I thank him all the time because that really made Michelle's night.
Exactly. And you got guys like him who's a music teacher.
Yeah. Yep.
Eli Lambie, music teacher, beautiful composer, a wonderful
big
kid.
Big time.
Wonderful kid. He's got the Mojo Kings,
It's cool.
A bunch of renegades and Jan.
Right.
LeQuier and her beautiful voice. And you just go throughout the whole, like we were talking about the New Age of Dinas the other night with an MSM, my buddies, how can you go wrong?
We have so much talent in this valley.
Yeah. And occasionally, Gaudio fits somewhere, right? But Troubadour is basically somebody who travels around and plays music. I don't need this microphone. I don't need to be hooked up to anything. I don't need pedals and stuff. Troubadours can just walk through the crowd, and that's what I do at Ogilvy Fest. At Ogilvy Fest, before I play, I'd usually get a gig out at Ogilvy Fest. Before I play, I go around to the different art booths, the guys that I know they're selling art, and I play music.
Yeah.
So I'll go, and Bob Villamagna and, Lambros Claudius and those guys. It draws people to their tent, right? So I'm a traveling troubadour. A troubadour is basically a traveling musician. So that's what I am.
I got you. Now,
that's how we got Troubadour. That was me. I mean, because Blind Dog was it boxed me in too much. It was more of a blues name, I play blues, but I'm not a blues man.
Right. No.
I play all sorts of music. The other night I was up at Ogilvy at Lakeview patio, and I played from Casablanca. You must remember this, a kiss is still a kiss.
Oh yeah.
Sigh is but a sigh.
And I guarantee you that crowd ate it up.
They loved it.
Yeah.
And I said, you just heard a song that was written in 1931.
Yeah.
And recorded by Rudy Valley. They're like, what? And I play, what is it? Somewhere over the rainbow.
I like Kermit's version.
Oh, yeah, and
Somewhere.
I actually play There's a songs about rainbows. Yeah. Over the other side. Yeah. And people love that, Rainbow Connection.
Yeah.
That was Paul Williams, too, for the Muppet movie.
Man, I didn't know there was an Evel Knievel museum. Sorry.
Great. No, Evil, man. What a dude.
I loved him.
He was a showman. He was a great promoter, and he was an absolute crazy man.
Nuts. Now, this weekend, a rare off weekend. You're free all weekend.
Well, not free, but I'm not playing any gigs because it's my 50th high school reunion that has been belated for 1 year. So we are doing our 51st reunion from Brook High School. I was a member of the first graduating class of Brook County High School. Yes.
First year, huh?
Yeah. I actually was on the committees as a junior from Fallensby High School. We put committees together from Wellsburg, Bethany, and Fallensby High Schools, and we chose the colors. We chose the mascot.
The Bruins.
Yeah, Bruins, because the UCLA Bruins were the greatest college basketball program in the world back then. John Wooten. And he had guys like,
Kareem.
Lou Alcindor. Yeah, who was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He was Lou Alcindor when he got out of Brooklyn.
Sure.
Yeah, and the Green Bay Packers were the NFL strong. They were the strength of the NFL back then with Bart Starr.
Oh, yeah.
And so green and gold and Bruins. And, yeah, so I was on those committees to pick that stuff.
Cool, okay.
And then we went, in our first year was 69-70, and I was the president of senior class of Center 1. There were 4 centers. We had 500 in our class, and each center had an equal amount of freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors throughout the building. And Pat Cipolleti, Dr. Pat Cipolleti of Wellsburg, is our main president, and he has been so good about getting us together every 5 years. And now, the 50th went south because of COVID.
And our 35th did.
But tonight we're getting together informally at the Glassworks.
Cool.
And they put extra staff on because they know we're going to be there. And tomorrow night it will be the formal dinner in one of the great big banquet rooms up in Wilson Lodge. And
sweet.
It'll just be, when you hit 50, Steve, you really don't care how much money they've made, what they look like. You just want to hug them.
I get it. We're alive.
It's just, you want to just go and say, it's good to see you.
Sure.
It's been 50 years. It's just with some of us. But anyway, that's what I'm doing instead of playing. But next week at the Belmont Brew Works in Martins Ferry, I'll be playing there on Saturday from 7 to 9 if somebody's looking. You want me to play music?
Yeah, go ahead.
If I get this thing to be tuned.
I'm texting with my new next-door neighbor.
Oh, hello, new next-door neighbor.
My brother.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Well, it's good to have him in the neighborhood. Anyway, like any good songwriter, I have to explain the song. I was in what was then called North Yemen, 1977 to 1980. I was a Peace Corps volunteer, and it was my first Thanksgiving that I hadn't spent with my family in my whole life. I was 20,
doesn't that stink?
25 years old, and I was with my wife, not the wife that I have now, but
wife one,
my first wife, who is Patricia Hillberry from Beach Bottom. She's doing well, by the way.
I just wrote about the Anchor Room.
She's at I played the Anchor Room. I played a bowling banquet there once. It was a women's bowling league, and this lady actually was so drunk that she looked at me and says, Can you play Melancholy Baby? I never thought I'd get that request, ever. I couldn't play because I didn't know it. But
you're a little melancholy sometimes when you're drunk, I guess.
So, can you play Melancholy Baby? I'm like, man, I wish I could. That's the first time I've ever had that request. Anyway, this song came about because I was missing home and I was missing West Virginia, and it's called West Virginia Woman. She descends upon a cloud from the Appalachian Mountains, a spirit wild and restless as the old Ohio rolls. Her hair is like a satin night in the still life of a forest. Her eyes reflect the glimmer in a vein of blackest coal. Oh, my West Virginia woman, clothed in autumn's many colors, can you see these tears of yearning for the place from which I've roamed? And will you send me mountain music for to soothe me with a memory? Oh, my West Virginia woman, I'm so far, far away from home. From Chester down to Bluefield, o'er the hills and o'er the cities, you can feel her very essence in the melody she plays. She strums her gentle fingers across the bosom of the heartland, a simple dulcet rhapsody in thoughts of younger days. Oh, my West Virginia woman, clothed in autumn's many colors, can you see these tears of yearning for the place from which I've roamed? And will you send me mountain music for to soothe me with a memory? Oh, my West Virginia woman, I'm so far, far away from home. Well, the lakes and the rivers send their greetings as they gurgle neath her feet. Farms and coal mines sing her praises, every orchard, every street. Harper's Ferry west to Wheeling, you can hear her proud decree. Here in West, by God, Virginia, mountaineers are always free. Oh, my West Virginia woman, clothed in autumn's many colors, can you see these tears of yearning for the place from which I've roamed? And will you send me mountain music for to soothe me with a memory? Oh, my West Virginia woman, I'm so far, far away from home. Oh, my West Virginia woman, I'm so far away from home.
All right.
West Virginia woman. This guitar's killing me. Okay. That's the new guitar. This is Runaround Sue, and we're still getting to know each other.
So you name your guitars?
Yeah, Marco Polo's the other tailor. Marco, we traveled a lot together, man.
Are you a fan of Chris Stapleton?
Yes, I am.
Have you ever seen his NPR with his wife, Marilyn?
No, I'd like to, though.
I'll send you the link. I really like Chris Stapleton.
He's, a very talented dude. And there's so many good songwriters and singers and all sorts of genres, too. That's the thing. And for me, to be able to do this on weekends and sometimes in the middle of the week, actually on August or July, 21st? It's a Wednesday, and I'll be in Follinsby in the middle of the day, 11 to 2, playing for Wild and Wonderful Wednesdays out in the street in Penn Street on Follinsby.
I love that they're doing that.
Yeah, man.
You know, like Moundsville, I get phone calls, and they're like, hey, can you explain to us how Wheeling does this and Wheeling does that? And I'm like, yeah. And they'll always ask me, do you think it's kind of goofy that we want to do the same thing? And I'm like, no, not at all.
Do you want to promote your town? Do you want people to come downtown? You want people to meet you and see what a great town you got?
Yeah.
You got to get them there first. So, so they bring a food truck in, and they put a musician in the middle of the street, and they have picnic tables, and it's great. And Mayor Velagal called me and said, can you play Tom Petty? And I said, yeah, man, I can play Tom. Can you play Bob Dylan? Yeah, man, I can play Bob Dylan. And he says, well, we'd love to have you. So they hired me 2 more times after I did it a couple weeks ago.
That's cool.
It's not, but it's an. I have an in because my brother's city attorney in Fallonsville.
Oh, that's the fix.
Yeah, and Michael does come. My brother Mike does come to my shows sometimes.
Well, I mean, these days people are out, aren't they, Bob?
Yeah,
I mean,
and they love live music, and it's great to see them. And as I say in all of my concerts right now, when I get to the mic, I say, it is such a pleasure to be playing to strangers again.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
I know. But, Red, White, and Brew was one thing. It's a United Way fundraiser.
Yeah,
and, supposed to have 3 bands, only had 2.
Right.
But, if you missed out on Gage, ladies and gentlemen, he's up at Route, what is that? Route 88
yeah,
barbecue.
the barbecue, right off of 80. It's right on 88, man.
It's a ski lodge. It's the golf range.
Yeah. It just before you get out of the park, right before the Spidell, fairways there, right before you get out of the park and you start towards West Liberty, you'll see the ski lodge. It's the driving range.
Yeah. It's the right turn before you go to Spidell.
Yeah. Gage is playing up there from I think it's 6 to 9 tonight.
Okay. And that'll be a solo gig. All right, we'll go ahead and take our final break, and then you can come back, play some other originals.
Sure,
we'll try to get away with a couple of covers, okay?
I'd love to do that.
All right, sounds good. Bob Gaudio, ladies and gentlemen. Well, excuse me, RJ Gaudio, Troubadour. See, I turned your mic off so you couldn't interrupt me that time. All right, we'll be back here in just a few moments. I'm Steve Novotney. It is Steve Novotney Lives right here on Lead News. Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Our final segment. I'm going to put my first time ever. Same guest, both hours.
Amazing.
There he is. Oh, I put you on mute because you were going to ruin my Troubadour again.
No, I promise I won't. Of course, I promised a lot of stuff. Troubadour.
RJ Gaudio, Troubadour. Why the come back to music, Bob? Why'd you decide to do it?
It's my therapy.
Okay, honest answer. Love it.
That's what I tell people. I always tell my audiences, welcome to my therapy session, because I work in crime, and there is some interestingly negative things that happen to each other, that we do to each other, and I have to deal with it.
Yeah.
Some of it is heinous, some of it is bad, some of it's evil, some of it is painful, and when I get home in the evening, music soothes me. It soothes everybody. That's why we have music. It's probably the best thing we do as human beings.
Right.
The thing that separates us from the animal. Some people say love. Love's cool, but also love can hurt. I don't know any music that can hurt. I just don't. So anyway.
Unless it's an old song that you had with an old somebody.
Well, yeah, I mean, harm you in a way. What I mean is, bring pain to your life. If it's the song from a prior relationship, why are you doing that to yourself?
Yeah.
Just saying.
Very true. Now, I mean, even during the pandemic, you continued to play and you donated a lot to charity.
We made a lot of money for local charities mostly. I have a friend who runs a child abuse. It's a child abuse international educational program regarding child abuse, and she asked me to do. Dr. Pamela Pine asked me to do one, and we did one for her. We've done an evening concert for Christian Help in Mingo County, West Virginia, but mostly Wheeling charities. And we raised approximately $23,000 over the course of the pandemic. Yeah.
Bravo.
Well, that's good, and I got to play, and Claire got to meet a lot of people because
they were kind of combined shows.
She was my master of ceremonies, and she would talk to people, how you doing, and Bob so-and-so's on, and we'd have a chat, and people miss that now. So I'm thinking about maybe I think I saw Matt Van Fossen doing one the other night, just kind of by request kind of show on Facebook Live, and hopefully you got a nice audience. Anyway. Okay,
I'm sorry, I'm testing the site at the same time I'm doing this.
You're allowed to do it. Okay, I'm going to play you some music while we got a little bit of time. This is a song I wrote when David was in a play at Towngate, and I was waiting for him because he couldn't drive at that point. It was St. Patrick's Day coming up, and I was going to play at the Towngate for their St. Patrick's Day dinner, and I was sitting in one of the restaurants. waiting for David to finish. And its lyric came to me. And it was an Irish kind of sound. So it's called Justice Can Be Kind is the name of the song. It's basically a song about a woman whose husband comes home after being injured in the mines, head injury, and he turns into a different person. And it becomes very abusive. And she decides to do away with him. It's called Justice Can Be Kind. She's singing it to her sons. 'Neath the ancient oaken wood, I heard the angels sing. He buried nice and easy lads, did not say a thing. I will not miss his angry words, his constant lust, his fists, accusing eyes, suspicious mind, the deadly adder hiss. He will no longer wield the strap, no longer rant and wail. Your father is a memory now, his cursed soul set sail. That's my lyrics. Peace in the valley, serenity divine. Peace in the homestead, justice can be kind. When love was ruler of our home, for Satan brought his sin, your daddy cared, protected us, a pleasured life within. One day he came home from the mines, a changed man from a fall. He never smiled, he never laughed. We suffered, one and all. The fear he brought was palpable, his punishments severe. I could not stand another day. I loved you all too dear. Peace in the valley, serenity divine. Peace in the homestead, justice can be kind. And now we must be wary lads, shall we all agree? Your daddy has abandoned us and sailed away to sea. Your father is no longer here, he's sailed away to sea. Peace in the valley, serenity divine. Peace in the homestead, justice can be kind. Peace in the homestead, justice can be kind. Yeah. That's Justice Can Be Kind. That's all because David G was late. I'm going to play this one, Steve, because back in 1970, they had a thing in public schools called baccalaureate.
Yeah.
And it was a prayer service in the public schools the night before graduation. So we wore our caps and gowns, and we went to the auditorium, or in this case, the gymnasium, and we had an evening of prayer and music. And it was all based on Christianity because, back then, everything, and we did have some Jewish folks in our class. In fact, several. But there was never any mention of it. But anyway, it was a Christian service, and you didn't have to attend. But if you attended, you wore your cap and gown, and most people attended it. And I was on the committee. I was always on every big committee.
Yeah, you're on a committee for this, on a committee for that.
So they said, Bob, write a song for the baccalaureate. And I said, sure, I can do that. And I waited till the day of the baccalaureate. I had an idea for a song. But the day of the baccalaureate, my mother at breakfast said, did you write that song yet, Bobby? And I said, oh, it's in my head, Ma. She said, it's tonight. So I wrote Be What You Are. And you have to imagine 1,200 people in a big gymnasium swaying back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
One fine day the Lord looked down on me. He said, people wear masks in society. She said, why don't you try? Leave those phony faces behind and be yourself for all the world to see. The chorus goes like this. Be what you are and reach that distant star. Just be what you are. Everybody's swaying. Reach out your hands and touch your fellow man. Just be what you are. She said, look around and see your brother's face and your sister's face, and find our God contained in the human race. He said, live for their care and love the life you share. The happiness you'll find you can't replace. And everybody sing, be what you are and reach that distant star. Just be what you are. She said, reach out your hand and touch your fellow man. Just be what you are. He said, you should use your talents for the Lord, and then being what you are shall bring reward. He said, you must have pride and never try to hide. Your talents are gifts of love from the precious Lord. Everybody, be what you are and reach that distant star. Just be what you are. Reach out your hand and touch your fellow man, and just be what you are. It brings back a lot of memories, man.
Now, is that the fourth song you've played? Is that the last one?
No, I have a couple.
Attaboy.
Yeah, I got a couple more.
Keep playing.
Okay.
We've got 7 minutes.
Okay. This is a song I wrote for my wife when I first met her. The first time she had a birthday after I met her. And it's called Song of Discovery. I stole a bit of it off of Donovan Leitch. I don't know if people know about Donovan. A star shone high in the January sky, spreading heat and light through the universe. From the velvet ferocity of God's own hands, real love and combustion interspersed. And the starlight shot through the Milky Way on a trek to planet Earth, where it touched down gently in the eyes of a woman who was just then giving birth to Claire. With the golden hair, a waterfall around her face. Let me gaze into her loveliness, and let me bathe in her embrace. Let me walk with her, and let me talk with her, and let me live within the space of Claire. With the golden hair, a waterfall around her face. Oh. In the very first month on the 11th day, from Godalming in Guildford in the old UK to Douglas and Margaret back in 58, came a little baby girl who had sealed the fate of that starlight that shot through the Milky Way on a trek to planet Earth, where it touched down gently in the eyes of a woman who was just then giving birth to Claire, with the golden hair, a waterfall around her face. Let me gaze into her loveliness, let me bathe in her embrace. Let me walk with her and let me talk with her, and let me live within the space of Claire, with the golden hair, a waterfall around her face. She has traveled near, she has traveled far, she has come to know you only stay right where you are, that if the one inside can only be unbound, then the life is worth the living of it all around. Yes, the life is worth the living of it when you're found. She takes her circumnavigation very seriously. She's run her 63rd lap in the human race, seeking reconciliation for some deeds undone, wanting answers to questions that have never been placed. And the searchlight shoots through the inner space on her trek to planet Worth, and it settles in the mirror on the face of a woman who is just now giving birth to Claire, with the golden hair, waterfall around your face. Let me gaze into your loveliness, and let me bathe in your embrace. Let me walk with you and let me talk with you, let me live within your space. Oh Claire, with the golden hair, a waterfall around your face. Around your face. Oh, Claire.
Very cool, man.
And yeah, and then she fell in love with me and we got married. But
yeah, I figured it worked out for you.
But I sang it at our wedding in England too, and I had a concert pianist playing the song on a piano, and another gentleman playing saxophone. I was playing. Oh, it was beautiful, man. It was just great. And her father was just so weird because it was such a beautiful song. Okay, that was that, and that's for Claire. And I can never play that when she's around because she's crazy. Okay, this is a song I introduced to you and to your audience back at Christmas time a long time ago.
Yeah.
And it's called Joseph's Song. Okay. The Sisters of St. Joseph want me to copyright it for them. I don't know. It's a Christmas song. On the road to Bethlehem, my Mary, great with child, rode upon the donkey's back. The night was bright and mild. We passed a field of slumbering sheep, their shepherds rose as one. Then angel voices filled the skies, behold God's only Son. Oh, come, you Son of mine, oh, come, you Son of man, bring to us your light divine, guide us to the promised land. We settled in a stable bare, there was no other place, waiting for the moment when we'd see our baby's face. My Mary labored hard and long, I helped her through the storm. I was the first to touch his skin, the Word made flesh was born. Oh, come, you son of mine. Oh, come, you son of man. Bring to us your light divine. Guide us to the promised land. A healthy baby boy child on this holy morn. Mary's eyes were smiling. Emmanuel was born. Now holding you, my precious boy, it moves my heart to swell. You may be the son of God, but you're my son as well. I will teach you how to work the wood and how to be a man. And I will love you, Jesus, as only a father can. Oh, come, you son of mine. Oh, come, you son of man. Bring to us your light divine. Guide us to the promised land. Oh, come, you son of mine. Oh, come, you son of mine. Bring to us your light divine. Guide us to the promised land. That's Joseph's song.
Yeah.
Yeah, Christmas song in July. There you go. Thanks for having me, man.
Hey, thank you for spending the afternoon with me.
It was fun.
That was awesome.
It's been a long time, man.
Since I started the podcast back in February, and because you were banned from the other show, you were one of the first people I wanted on the new show.
Yeah, we won't talk about that.
I mean, truth is truth.
Idiots being idiots.
Yeah.
That's all right.
But thank you, my friend. I so very much appreciate it.
It's my pleasure, and ask me back.
You betcha. Bob Gaudio, ladies and gentlemen. He is one of my best friends in the whole wide world, and thank the Lord for that. All right, that'll do it for us today, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everybody has a terrific weekend. Of course, we're going to do our best over here at Novotney Manor. And it all started off with these 2 hours with my dear friend, Bob Gaudio. Now, as far as when we'll be back, that's on Monday, 3 to 5 p.m. Until then, God bless you, folks. We'll talk again.